Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
Back at you, Gloves Off. I'm Paul Buitron. I'm here with Jennifer Hamilton, and we're touching base on turds, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me again.
No, thank you for enlightening us about what a turd is. A lot of people have a lot of questions, and I want you to educate us about it.
Yeah, turds seem to be really popular now.
Absolutely.
Yes, since 2017.
And why is that?
They are a really good tool. They're a really good development tool. It works a lot like a PID, except for there are a few little differences. So you still have to classify the land as a tax improvement district, or so you have a piece of property, you classify the property, and then what happens is you go in and you do like a feasibility study, and that feasibility study comes up with how much we could build and what industries would want to come in here, and you set like a tax basis. So if it's raw ranch land, you would set a tax basis of the raw ranch land. The city is going to still get the raw ranch land tax money, and then basically as development comes in and the tax basis goes up, then there is a split, usually a 60-40 split. 60% will go into an account, and that the developer can use to then do other improvements in that area. 40% goes to the city. So there is a shared, long-term shared cost of that development. It's a great tool. That money that goes into that account is managed by a group of board members. It's not managed by the city. That group of board members can be anyone the developer chooses.
Okay, so it's a developer that chooses them, or is it the city that chooses them?
The developer. And it can be city officials, it can be other business people, it can be whoever he thinks is going to move that project forward. And then that board will decide which projects they're going to do. They still have to submit all of that paperwork to the city. The city's like, yeah, let's do that next. And then they move forward. The risk to a TERS is, let's say that the city's getting the raw ranch land tax basis, and then they're having to split, whenever there is finally development, they're having to split that 60-40, right? We still have to provide services there. We still have to have fire. We still have to have cops go patrol. We still have to maintain the streets, trash, that kind of thing. Is that 40% going to be enough to cover it over a 30-year period or a 40-year period?
So in other words, that 40% that was taken from the taxes is to go towards those services that the city needs to provide.
Right, and we've got to make sure that that's going to cover that.
And if it looks like it, most likely they don't cover that, right? And many of the projected, if it's 30 years and a project hasn't finished in
it
10
can happen.
years, you know what I'm saying?
It can happen. I mean, of course, in the financials, you do like a best case scenario, a middle of the road scenario, and a worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, which we have a lot of things going on in the economy right now that are going to play into, is this going to be better long term? So we have a decrease in oil and gas production. That's a huge amount of our tax bases. If we lose that tax basis, and then we're having to service out there, and we're not getting all of the tax bases from there, then how's that going to work? Or you see what I'm saying? If the city doesn't have enough money because they're losing it from other areas, where are they going to get it from?
But, you're absolutely correct, because, the city, number one of the biggest part of the budget of the city is our police and fire.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, so we have some excellent first responders. We can't say that. But there has to be, we have to start stopping someplace, because it eventually is going to outgrow the city.
Right, or we have to bring in, and whenever we're doing a development, we need to plan that, put a fire station there. Put a fire station there, have employees there. That way they're not traveling as far. That cuts down on cost. And also have it be part of the development cost. That can easily happen. We can build more schools. We can build more fire stations. We can do this. That's not a problem, as long as we're bringing in the development and we're working with the current developers that are wanting to build here in Laredo. We can accomplish that very easily. The risk with the TERS is that 40% going to be enough to cover it? How fast is that development going to go up? So that they can actually get that additional 40%. Because remember, we locked it in at ranch dirt prices. So, above raw land prices, what is that 60-40? I think they're really popular because that board is, they have a lot of power, they have a lot of leeway.
Absolutely. Let me put it to you this way: not everybody might have a nefarious action to them, and some people, there are some very good people. But if you do get some folks in there that have a type of bad influence, well, guess what? It's going to go a wrong way. It's a good way to go ahead and spend it the wrong way.
It could happen. It could totally happen. They do have to submit reports and stuff like that, but they have a lot of leeway. They have, it is their development. And it reduces the checks and balances. I think what Laredo needs now is development in a faster manner. Like right now, we have on the TERS, you're going to have to wait. We already have a TERS downtown.
Sure.
And now they have to attract some business, get those businesses producing income, so that they can get that 60-40 split to start making the improvements. Or, I guess they could sell bonds, but they can't. The board cannot do that. I guess the city would have to do that. But, how many big businesses have we attracted to downtown so that we could get that appreciation?
We're actually, and that's the danger part is we really need to understand the development. Mm-hmm. And we really have to have a great marketing plan to move Laredo forward.
Very much so.
Because right now we don't have that. Laredo's lost big time. They're not even in the race anymore. It's the race finished, Everybody else beat us. And they're beating us, and they're still trying to figure out where to get some training to get in that race. And it's unlikely, because I love Laredo. I'm from Laredo. This is my town. This is where I'm at. And you're looking at people like this, and you're like, wait a minute, what are we doing? Enough's enough. We want to fly. There's an old saying that Benjamin Franklin used to say, and he says, you will never soar like an eagle if you flop around with turkeys. Right. And that's basically where we're at. Mm-hmm. Not calling anybody a turkey, but if you want to go with the winner, go with those that are winners.
Exactly.
Let's start producing. Let's start getting folks in that understand what a TER is, what a PID and a PUD is, how we can do it, and put it in there. Not somebody that thinks they understand.
Right.
Because you're explaining this to me, and I've been in real estate and the whole 9 yards, and not a real estate agent. I went through the whole process, and you look at all this stuff, and you're like, well, that's new.
No, it's not new.
But it's new to me. You understand?
And it's new to Laredo.
You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly. I mean, this, like I said, it's been done since the late 70s throughout the whole part of Texas and also around the country. This is so not new. There are so many successful projects that we could literally copy, and we have a historical record of them.
You know, and that's what gets me, Miss Hamilton, is because we have a lot of historical records as well.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of historical records of starting something and all of a sudden something disappeared and there's no more money.
Exactly.
And we can't have that anymore.
Exactly.
We can't have that attitude. We allocated this money for this project over here. Oh, well, you know what? Now we have this other one over here, and well, what happened to this one?
And then you spent all the money on the studies and the feasibility analysis and maybe doing some surveying or something like that, but you spend all the money on that and you never get the development. I mean, that is a crying shame.
That's upset. So we need to start getting folks to understand that we need to get these projects done. And we're going to allocate money. We're going to use these tools. They're going to benefit for the purpose of moving Laredo forward. Awesome.
That's why I feel like the PID for Laredo is a better investment tool, the PID. And the reason why is the development, it doesn't lock in raw ranch land prices. So as the development is developed, the city gets the additional tax revenue. So they're not out anything. They're not out, they don't have that risk that if they lose tax revenue somewhere else, that this is not paying either. So they're getting their taxes. And then we build the vertical construction. But there's cash sitting there, ready to go, to actually build the infrastructure, build the development. We're not having to wait for a 60-40 split to build up and then do a little project here and a little project there. This is a way of getting the infrastructure, getting the development started, and getting them completed faster, which is what we need to be able to bring in the roads to alleviate some of the traffic on Mines Road and give extra points to 35, to bring in the extra schools, to bring in the fire stations, to bring in everything that we need, the parks. I mean, it gives cash now. It's like that commercial, give cash now, you know? And the city gets the tax bases. So I think that is just a much more efficient tool for Laredo to use now, because we need the development now.
Absolutely. And hopefully our leaders are paying attention, because we need to start going forward, and we need to start bringing Laredo to what Laredo was 15 years ago.
Yes.
The number 2 in the nation that was growing. Somewhere along the line, we lost that. What happened?
Mm-hmm.
And if we still have the same management and directors that we did 15 years ago that brought it down, well, we have to get rid of them and get some new people, new blood, and start moving that forward.
Exactly.
I believe in the severance pay. I believe that, you know what, thank you for enough, and we love you and we think highly of you, but we have to move forward,
Yes.
or else we can't go back.
And we need set standards. I mean, we have one TERS that was approved and we have another TERS that was not approved. Why? And I mean, one of them was a ground up construction that was a fantastic development. Why was it not approved? Why did they not come to terms on that? Why was the other one approved and that one not? Why is this other one looking like it's going to get approved and that one was not? What is the standard so that these developers know the game they're playing and can actually play a fair game and win? Everybody wins. It seems like those have not been set and clearly stated, and those need to happen. We need set standards so that they can come in there and they can build a development to those standards and meet those financial standards, and then you know you're going to get approved. It's not, well, maybe they like me, maybe they don't. If you meet those standards, it's going to happen.
Absolutely. What else would you, well, how can we get developers and even city officials and county officials together somehow for this to be explained to them? Or do they want to or not want to? That's the question. Can we get builders and property owners together to find out if we can do this? How can you do that?
Most of our developers and people wanting to come to Laredo and develop are really leery because, we don't have the set standards. We don't, and it's like, well, am I gonna do all this and then not get approved? They don't want that risk. I wanna know that if I buy this property and I have these set standards, I'm gonna see this development realized. And we just need that transparency. We really do. It makes no sense not to have it. That should be the first thing they work on. And I think the developers that are wanting to do projects here should definitely champion for that to happen. I think they're a little concerned, like, oh, well, if we don't play favorites or we don't, if we stir the pot, then I'm definitely not going to get my development approved.
That's what happens.
That's exactly
that's what happens with the history of Laredo. Everybody has a history, and that's the history of Laredo.
Mm-hmm.
If you did not have my sign up, you're not going to get approved.
Right.
If you did not have so and so's bumper sticker, you're not going to get approved.
Right.
If you did not wave at so and so in the parade, you're not going to get approved. And that has to stop.
It has to stop.
It
That
has to
is
stop.
inhibiting most of the growth of Laredo. That is the main thing that our local developers are scared of. And nobody wants to operate like that. Nobody wants to take those kind of risks. And that's why we don't have the development and this stuff that we want here and that we could have here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, learn a little bit more, how can they get a hold of you?
My number at Hamilton Real Estate Group. My number is 956-763-1762. Call me, leave me a message, text me. We can sit down, go into more detail.
Because we need that.
We do.
We need that. We need to start producing moving forward. We need to start opening the roads. We need to start construction. Let me put it to this way. Every candidate that comes in, and I've interviewed the majority of them, and I know a lot of them, they're great people that go into office, and somewhere along the office they forget about what they said. A lot of them want to open up the area, want to start building and growing.
And we can do
This
that.
is a chance. Let's start moving.
I really would love to sit down with commissioners, and I like to call them heart projects. Whenever you ran for your district, you had certain projects that were dear to your heart that you wanted to see happen in your district. Let me know what those projects are. It is really a joint venture. We work together. You tell me, hey, this is what my constituents want. This is what the people in my district need. How can we make that happen? And we'll find the best tool. We'll find the investment money. We'll put that together, and then we will make that happen.
Absolutely. And let's get it moving. Let's get it moving.
Definitely. I
want to thank you for coming out and expressing yourself and educating us.
thank you.
And that's the main thing, something that I did not know, and I did not know what a pit and a pud and a tur was. And granted, and we go out there and start finding out, and
there's more.
And there's a lot more. No, but I'm serious.
This is a good base start. Yes.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more, especially when it goes with state and federal government. We live in a country that's the best country in the world.
We do.
And for people, that's why we have so many people coming over. They want to come over. You can't blame them.
Right.
We live in the best country in the world. We Americans need to start understanding all these programs that are out there for us to start taking advantage and making us grow.
I think our city's really used to using grants, and grants are great, but it's really, really difficult to get a grant, and a lot of the grants are going away. And usually whenever you see the government change taxes or they change, different procedures, it's because they're trying to move you into using different tools, better
Absolutely.
tools.
Sure.
And I feel like that's what they're doing.
Absolutely. Folks, I want to thank Ms. Hamilton. I want to thank you guys for continue watching us. And if you like this, press like, subscribe. And once more, our governor just said no more masks. Let's stop living in fear. But let's not get into arguments for those that do not want to wear the mask and those that do wear a mask. It's not, let's just be cordial to everybody. And let's not have any more confrontations. Let's just live life and be careful. And each one should have their own judgment on how everybody should be at. And be safe. Right?
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. Thank you. Until next time. Peace.
Today, in America, more than 5.5 million men, women, and children train in a martial art regularly. Buitron Academy has been serving Laredo for over 30 years now. Our adult classes are geared for producing the best in you, teaching you street-ready techniques. With the arts of Savate and Kenpo, you'll learn the traditions of these sciences of combat, as passed down professor to student.
Hello, my name is Stephen Plank, and to whom this may concern. Professor Paul Buitrón is an outstanding human being and a close friend of mine, where his martial art prowess and skill is at equal to his humanity. His teaching capabilities are what one would expect of someone from his caliber. I've been in martial arts since I was 9. I'm 65 years old now. However, if I had a son or daughter who needed to learn self-defense, anti-bullying techniques, and/or gain a higher level of skill in fighting, and in which I could not instruct, then Professor Paul Buitrón would be my choice. His martial understanding of his Savate is higher than anyone else I have met. His pedigree is impeccable. He comes highly recommended by myself. Guru Stephen Plank. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Richard Planis. I was the vice president of the IKKA for Ed Parker for many years, 10 years before he died. And I still travel the world teaching all over. And I met lots of people through the years. One of them I want to congratulate is Paul Buitrón down in Laredo, Texas. He's opening a new school, and that's always good to hear. I've known Paul since he was about 18 years old. I couldn't even tell you how old he is now. We've known each other for a long time, and he's like a lot of people should be, takes art seriously. He incorporated many arts, in his school. He does, capoeira, silat, jiu-jitsu, eskrima, kenpo, lots of different things. Any art like myself that you see a value in, you can bring it in and incorporate it if you want to. Anyway, so he's opening a new school, and I'd like to recommend it to anybody who wants to train down in the Laredo area. Meet him, go see him, you'll have fun. Thank you. Bye.
Come train at the best kept secret of Laredo. Give us a call for your free evaluation at 956-401-4868 or check out our website at savate.biz. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook.